All right, good morning, everybody. How are we all doing today? It's Larsen Live, June 29th, 2024. Ponythorpe starts us off with a bang, more like a whimper, saying, I don't recall this video music, but it sounds like it came out of a Sega Genesis. Yes, it did, actually. It is from Sonic 3 and Knuckles, the Doomsday Zone background music, which seemed pretty fitting considering the Astro fuck up that we're currently engaged in at the moment. Seemed quite fitting. And yeah, first of all, some personal news. I actually dug up my old Sega Genesis from my parents' house and realized that it's much easier to emulate any games before the year 2000. I'm putting it on sale. Let's hope that the retro gaming bubble can work for me and not against me. Oh, who am I kidding? All economic trends operate against me. Secondly, my website, thebarbaricgentleman.com, is back online. There were some issues I had with, I don't know, some plugin like Savin or Guard or whatever the hell it was. Yeah, that wasn't working, and that was bad. It meant my website was not online. Now it's back on. So if you want half-baked videos and lame articles, there you go. I kid, of course. My website is and always will be the best kept secret in the internet. Secondly, I was thinking about getting a remix of the Doomsday Zone music, but then I realized that none of them are really as good as the original. And yeah, sadly, that even includes Johnny Atma there at Game Metal. You know, he's usually amazing, but it's not as good as the original. That's all I can say. Anyway, yeah, let's just get right to the title story. The Astro fail going on right now. Yeah, so apparently there's two American astronauts that are stranded on the International Space Station right now due to the Boeing Starliner shitting the bed. And there's no clear plan on how and when they're coming back. So, needless to say, Doomsday Zone seemed like the perfect background music. A space-related calamity is afoot. Experts say that old musky boy, Elon Musk, and his SpaceX might be able to do the rescue, but we shall see. Let's open up this story as I fumble around with the Daily Mail's atrocious user interface. Let's just refresh that, see if I can get this working. Also, my internet has been working particularly great this morning, but I managed to get things running just in the nick of time to get this stream started. Let's see. Hey, Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams were scheduled for a 9-day stay. They now sit at an undetermined date. There's some technical issues from the Boeing Starliner capsule, including thrust failures and leaking valves. Yes. I guess this is what happens when you underfund the hell out of NASA and let other countries pick up the slack because it would be racist or something. Boy, this country sucks. It's astounding how good this country could be, how good it used to be, and how much it sucks now. Hey, yeah, there's also a series of other problems going on with Boeing. Like a Boeing airliner did a Dutch roll at 32,000 feet mid-flight last month, which resulted in the aircraft being taken out of service. That's not good. Then there was an Air Canada Boeing plane burst into flames after takeoff. Also, Boeing may or may not be just outright assassinating whistleblowers, which is a bit of a concern. But what do you guys think about this issue? Ponythroat says, I guess my ability to recognize which system a tune came from based on the exact capabilities of the sound chips is on point. I mean, to be fair, the Sega Genesis had a very distinct sound chip, which was actually inferior to the Super Nintendo sound chip, but they made it work surprisingly. Hey, if the Sega Genesis sound chip is good enough for Michael Jackson, it's good enough for you and me. But yeah, You cut the legs out from NASA for 40 years, and this is what happens. NASA's now about doing gay stuff instead of actually doing science. That's more important, apparently. Speaking of American politics, boy, that was a hell of a debate last night, wasn't it? And by last, I mean hell of a debate, I mean absolutely horrendous. Pretty much everybody's saying that this is like America's late Soviet moment. The late Soviet Union, of course, being run by a bunch of incompetent old geezers like Yuri Andropov and Leonid Brezhnev, and yeah, I think we're there. The allegations remain. The United States defeated the Soviet Union, only to become a gay, mentally challenged version of the Soviet Union. I agree with that. I was not the one who came up with that notion, but I agree with it wholeheartedly. Yeah, it's like you got Biden and Trump competing to see who could stick their foot in their mouth more. Yeah, Trump apparently mentioned something about black jobs being taken by illegal immigrants. People were confused. Like, oh, you're saying that there's certain jobs only black people can do? No, that's not what he said. I don't know why you would think that. Yeah, it's not good. This country's going to shit. Okay. Ponythroat says, speaking of emulation, the fact that Xbox 360 games are now old enough to be emulatable makes it feel like the nursing home is looming. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I've always kind of seen like the GameCube, PS2 era as like the hard cutoff date for emulation, at least for the peasant computers that I use. Um, yeah, like I'm just gonna sell off my old video because that stuff can be easily emulated, and there's plenty of USB controllers you can get as well. Speaking of the not quite old video, I introduced my beautiful wife Daphne to Super Smash Bros. Melee last night on a brand new file since I don't have a memory card, or my old GameCube memory card rather. So I literally could not introduce her to No Items Fox Only Final Destination. She was introduced to Fox and Final Destination due to me bumble fucking around trying to unlock characters. But yes, No Items was not used. Rick says, could NASA even hire Andy Weir to write a book about this incident? Probably not. I mean, The Martian was a very good movie and book, but it does presuppose an actually competent NASA and American government, and that is not the case. Alpha Rodriguez says Biden was so pissed every time Trump challenged him. Indeed. I mean, at the very least, Trump did seem more coherent than Biden. I mean, I don't care for either man in particular. I guess by default, I'm sort of the, drink heavily and whine about how much the country sucks nowadays political party. Yeah, also something that happened with politics is the nullification of the Chevron Supreme Court case, which is apparently about federal oversight. People are like, oh, the roads, what about the water? I'm like, you are aware that the state and local governments purify water and build roads, right? If anything, this is just sort of giving some, state power back rather than having everything being run by the feds. I mean, of course, this could be done wrong. Let's just see how it goes. If it's done properly, you won't see too much of a change in your standard of living. Ponythroat says that Brezhnev, winner of the Eyebrows of the Month award every month. Yes, Leonid Brezhnev had some truly transcendent eyebrows. Alpha Marigi says Biden was so pissed every time Trump challenged him. Ponythroat says PS4 emulators exist only for Bloodborne and doesn't really support much. I mean, when it comes to emulation, I still don't understand why the Game Boy Color emulators can't emulate Shantae. And speaking of Shantae, we'll get to her in a little while, but More on that later. We have to stick with the serious news for now. Alpha Marigi says digital storefronts do not exist for the 6th gen. I think that's the Wii 360 PS3 gen, so that's the hard cutoff for retro. I mean, maybe that's just because I only say that the GameCube PS2 era is the hard cutoff for emulation for me just because, I have a Wii and a PS3, which I just triumphantly brought back to my home yesterday, so, those are backwards compatible. So, I don't know, it also might just be because I don't exactly use the highest end computers. I feel like trying to emulate a GameCube or PS2 game would kind of shit the bed. Ponythroat says there is still no useful Atari Jaguar CD emulator. I'm not sure why you would ever want to emulate anything on the Atari Jaguar. What, you really missed that Kasumi Ninja action? You want Fargus, shooting fireballs out of his crotch? Alpha Marigi says, isn't Final Destination Versus the hardest thing to unlock in Melee? Giga Bowser was a bitch. I mean, just kind of on a lark, I played adventure mode with Link. Just, I was thinking, maybe I can unlock some characters here. I did not unlock any characters in adventure mode, but I did fight Giga Bowser for the first time, and I was like, I don't remember this. I don't remember fighting some yoked up Bowser, and then I looked it up, and apparently you get that if you make it through adventure mode with no continues, which I did. And I say I didn't unlock characters, but I did. I unlocked Jigglypuff. But yes, my darling wife had not played Smash, so I had to explain to her the concept of the game. There is no story, my love. It's just the story of this game is literally a Ritalin bombed child is slamming his toys together, and you're playing as the toys. Alpha Marigi clarifies that 6th gen is GameCube, PS2, Xbox. I see. So yeah, that is my cutoff date. Ponythroat says Trump's bloviating horseshit versus Biden's senile rambling. Yes, well said. Gerontocracy is not good. Ponythroat says you could probably emulate GameCube and PS2 if you have a somewhat modern laptop. I mean, I do, but I have the Wii. It's backwards compatible. I'm quite happy with it. Robert Leonard says, Larsen, any schedule on your Kung Fail of Michael Icanis? I'll probably get it done this summer. No hard dates, but it's coming. I make promises and they come true eventually. But yeah, politics is not great. Maybe this is why I'm retreating back into the, happy world of video games. Because to think about politics really sucks. When I was driving in the car yesterday with the lady, I was singing a bit of Disney Girls 1957 by the Beach Boys. Then I got really sad because that reminds me of, what we used to be and what I don't have. The American people, of course. Yeah, there's also some legislation going on where it's basically they're criminalizing, homeless loitering about. And I have mixed feelings about that. On the one hand, yes, boogie-eyed screaming brappies are a problem, a major problem. On the other hand, just putting them in jail isn't going to solve anything. I don't see why you couldn't just, hit the brappy over. Okay, here's what you should do. The brappiest of brappies need to be just taken out behind the shed and shot. Everybody who's salvageable should be taken to rehab and, get off the damn drugs and learn some valuable skills. I don't see why that's not an option. I also like to point out that America did not have such a high prison population before the war on drugs. So thank you, Dick Nixon. Yes. Alpha Rodriguez says you have to beat the 51st event match to unlock Final Destination Versus. You got to win a 3-stock 3v1 against Ganondorf, Mewtwo, and Giga Bowser. Yes, I see. I was curious because I actually just plowed through the first 30 event matches. I unlocked Ganondorf, and I was like, I remember there being more event matches. Ninja Master says, good Saturday morning. Ninja Master says the SCOTUS ruling against the homeless camps will be an issue for those cities. Yeah, because on the one hand, you have, these shit-lib cities who are like, we should just let the homeless just, like, pee everywhere and just kind of hang out. And then you have, the Judge Holdens of the world saying, no, you should put them in prison. I don't know why being sensible isn't an option. Rick says in high school we had Smash Bros. Tournaments after school. Good fun. I also had a Risk Club, but we had to do damage control when parents misheard as Risque Club. There is nothing risque about Risk. I don't know why you would think that. Ponythroat says, lore fact. Master Hand represents a latex glove glad hand trying to remove the Nintendo amiibos from Movie Bob's colon. Yeah, probably. But the question is, what does Crazy Hand represent? I mean, I don't know if there is, like, real, like, story behind all this nonsense, but I am genuinely under the impression that, like, it is, just supposed to be, like, a child playing with his toys and just spastically slamming them together, and that's, like, Super Smash Brothers. But then I have to ask, like, how many of these characters actually did get toys? Like, I know there were Ocarina of Time action figures. I definitely remember those. And there was some, Mario shit. Like, come on, were there ever Metroid action figures or Earthbound action figures? I don't think so. And there's definitely Kirby plushies. You can win them at any crane game in the country. But yeah, nobody's playing with action figures of Mr. Game & Watch. But yeah, to sum it all up, video games are good and politics suck. Let's see what else is going on. Oh, speaking of America's continued decline into utter insanity, if nothing else, the United States can be expected to do well at the Olympics. The United States swim team says, ladies and gentlemen, your 2024 U.S. Olympic team. They had a picture. People had a problem with it. The problem is the American swim team has far too many white people in it, and people were upset. This doesn't represent the America I live in me. I mean, they're not all white. Like, there's definitely like there's a black chick on the right here. There's a black dude on the left there. There's a bunch of like square jawed like Buzz McAllister looking guys. Because that's the America I represent, damn it. But yeah, a lot of people were really upset about this. Somebody put it best. A lot of Americans, including a lot of white Americans, just hate white people. And they're uncomfortable with the idea of a group of them being together. And they express these feelings openly with no fear of condemnation or reprisal. Yes. Yes, it is. And studies have literally shown that like white liberals do have like the lowest amount of in-group tolerance and the highest amount of like out-group veneration of anybody. I mean, nobody finds this weird, but I do. I'm sure the swim team's very good, and I wish them the best at the Olympics. I mean, I'm going to watch the Olympics myself. I mean, I'm in particular excited that the United States might actually put up a decent weightlifter for once. This dude, Hampton Morris, who looks like a steroided up Pee Wee Herman. I'm hoping he can do well. Be the first time the United States was competitive in international weightlifting since the 70s. All right, C-Punk Messiah says, I have a Fox action figure and that's all I need. Ponythroat says, I think there were action figures of Metroid based on Captain N. Yes, because that's what you want to base your goddamn action figures on. You want Levi Stubbs, Mother Brain. You want that Four Tops Mother Brain, cutting a rug, then patent leathers. Ninja Master asks, what events do I like in the Olympics? Well, I like weightlifting, I like boxing, wrestling, judo. I like the combat sports. I also like the swimming. I like the running. I like the, I guess you could call them like the pure athletics. I like the running. I like the weightlifting. Not crazy about the ball sports. Swimming is cool. Not synchronized swimming, though. Gymnastics is cool. Not the floor routines or the rhythmic gymnastics. Just the shit on the bars and the rings. Archery is good. I mean, equestrian is okay, but I think it'd be better if they were like hobby horsing and like prancing around with sticks between their legs, personally. My kid, of course. Ponythroat says, fun fact, South Africa's International Math Olympiad is 4 white people and 2 Indians. I was aware of that, yes. I'm also aware that the American Math Olympiad team is like a bunch of Chinese kids and a couple of white kids, and that's it. I'm not going to pretend like I would be some math superstar because, believe me, I'm not. I do well enough in math to get by. I mean, I actually do enjoy like math that's actually useful for things. Yeah, like you want me to do some geometry to calculate like the volume of a sphere to like fill up with like water or something? I'm down with that. I actually have a formula I calculated to calculate, weight by volume of Atlas stones. If I only had the space to make Atlas stones. Yeah, you want me to calculate trajectory for like throwing a hand grenade? I'm down with that. But math for the sake of math, like Euler circuits or algebra, that can go screw itself. C-Punk Messiah says, if there's anything that the NSFW community has taught me, the people who insist on having a clean, pure image, they have the worst personalities and a lot of skeletons. Well, I think we all know that's true. But yes, in conclusion, I hope the swimming team does well, and it doesn't matter who's diverse and who's not. As long as you win the events, that's good. Somebody in the comments says, it's not that we dislike white people, it's just that in a country that is 1/5 non-white, why is there like 99% white people? Hold the fucking phone there. The United States is not 1/5 non-white and has been for a very long time. Or have you not noticed how everybody's like salivating at the bit for, 2040 when white people officially are less than 50% of the population? But, nobody, I guess we just forgot about that for the time being. I mean, yeah, some Olympic events are bullshit. I know I'm always gonna like say rhythmic gymnastics kind of sucks. Like, I respect the rings and the parallel bars and shit, but I don't really have much respect for prancing about with a ribbon, to be quite honest. Like the synchronized swimming. Then the Winter Olympics has some horseshit too, like curling. Etc. Ponythorpe says the hardest part about the formula for a grenade trajectory is getting close enough to George Bush. Replace that with Ronald Reagan, and I'll agree with you. But yes, let's move on for a bit. Let's leave the United States for a second. In fact, let's go to North Korea, the best Korea. According to the Daily Loud, North Korea publicly executed a 22-year-old man for listening to K-pop in public. I mean, can you really blame Kim Jong-un? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I mean, I'm not a huge K-pop fan, but you know, obviously you should be allowed to listen to whatever music you like, even if it sucks. And I'm not going to denigrate an entire genre of music. I mean, come on, it's not like dubstep. Like, I'm sure this is some good K-pop. I mean, I can't say I've ever listened to a whole K-pop song. I did watch that one clip from the new Beavis and Butthead where Beavis is a secret K-pop fan. He tries to hide it. But that's about it. It was a BTS song. But I mean, what do you expect from a country where you're only allowed to have like one of 10 haircuts? And they're all the worst goddamn haircut you could imagine. But yeah, best Korea, that is not a good look. I mean, we all wish that we could execute people who listen to bad music, but of course we can't do that. We have to have freedom of choice and freedom of expression. Even the people who listen to like like the shittiest of shit rap music, even they have a right to listen. But you should be allowed to lecture them until they stop and feel ashamed of themselves. As if people who listen to that music have shame. They don't. It's not the most insane thing North Korea's ever done. But it's up there. Let's see what else we got here. I think we got a couple of more news. Same. Yeah, we got some more news. All the news that's fit to point and laugh at. So Reddit, of course, has a Reddit called R Fuck Cars. These are people who are against cars. They're against, they want those 15-minute cities and such, and, blah, blah, blah. It always ends up with them sucking Europe's cock and talking about how evil America is, but I digress. This person says, and I quote, Mellow Corn 1965, classic cars need to be banned. By driving a classic car or attending a classic car show, you're celebrating and reinforcing an era of misogyny, racism, and homophobia. I fail to see the problem here. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. This offensive. Note that they did not say this is offensive, just this offensive. It makes people who experience those things feel unsafe. We need to organize to get classic cars banned to make the world a safer and more equitable place. No, I don't think we will, actually. Classic cars are good, actually. I dream very much of driving about in a 1950s Cadillac, rocking old music and, greasing my hair back good. But, yeah, I don't approve of this. Oh, there was racism back then, therefore everything was bad. You got to be really ignorant to look at today and think like, yeah, this is the best things could possibly be. I'm very intelligent. I mean, you can acknowledge the bad parts of the past while also acknowledging that in terms of, style and cars and also refrigerators, as I saw the other day, some things were better back then. I mean, you didn't have like giant ham planets on billboards back then. Okay. Ponythroat asks, what if the classic car is a Trabant or a Lada? I bet they'd be okay with driving those for some reason. Well, yes, because as we all know, the Soviet Union had no racism or prejudice whatsoever. I say with the thickest goddamn sarcasm imaginable. There was actually a tremendous amount of racism and prejudice in the Soviet Union, just against different races than America is prejudiced against. Ponythroat says, none of the North Korean haircuts are the guile flat tops that North Koreans think all Americans have. Back when I started getting good haircuts at the tender age of 28, I almost went with a flat top before I decided on the pompadour. It's all about squaring off your head. And, the flat top could do it okay, but the pomp is better. Let's go to prison news. As we all know, the prison system is in desperate need of reform, and they're making it even worse. A Hashem al-Ghali has come up with Cognify, the prison of the future. It is a mental, sort of implant that implements artificial memories in your head as they lock you in some kind of, cryogenic chamber or some such. The memories should be tailored to the rehabilitation needs of each subject. Artificial memories will be seamlessly implemented into the existing neural networks of the brain. So basically, they're going to lock you in like a chamber for an hour and implement memories of decades of prison service for you. I remember there was a movie about this, several actually, like Demolition Man and Total Recall. Yeah, this is the 90s science fiction movies warned you about this and you didn't listen. Do you want bleach blonde Wesley Snipes going on murder rampages? Because this is how you get that. I was gonna refer to him by his character's name, but I didn't remember his last name. I know it's Simon something or other. Simon Phoenix. Jesus, how did I forget that? Phoenix! Yeah, let's not put people in cryogenic prison with fake memories. At least not until we implement the 3 seashells for cleaning your anus. Yeah. Come on, did you not watch Total Recall or Demolition Man? Or the Matrix? Anything else? For all this talk of the media literacy, these people are not media literate. They're not good. Be well, John Spartan. Get fucked. Rick clarifies, yes, it's Simon Phoenix. I was about to say Simon Kent, but no, he was a frontiersman in colonial America. That's totally different. Ponythroat says, stolen from Star Trek DS9, the O'Brien torture episode, one of several. I will admit, the only Star Trek I've seen great amounts of is the original series. I've seen bits and pieces of Next Gen and DS9, but I'm not going to profess like I know that much about it. Alpha Maria says they probably think it's cool. It's not cool. Ponythroat says cryogenic freezing also has a chance of not working, and those brain implants cause brain damage, so it's a pipe dream. Yeah, I didn't think this was going to work well, but I would think that you shouldn't even be thinking about implementing this. It is like naming your surveillance program Skynet, like the Chinese government does. That's not good. In fact, can we like not implement things into the brain in general? That is, it's not good, and it's not cool. The sad thing is about Demolition Man. I'm like, I dimly recall reading somewhere that there's some people who are like, I don't see what the problem is with this, future society. What's bad about it? I don't remember who it was, but I'm pretty sure I've seen people saying that. I mean, hell, we're basically living in San Angeles. Everybody's like ambiguously gendered and walking around wearing muumuus and not having sex. That's exactly what's going on in modern America. Biff Stankovich says, "Hello, Larsen gang. Hello." Ponythread says, "Star Trek had a man named Miles O'Brien who gets tortured a lot." That's good. I I don't know exactly how this ties in, but for some reason that just made me think of the episode Code of Honor, which is insanely racist towards black people. And that was from like Next Gen too. But that, of course, has nothing to do with Miles O'Brien. But yeah, in conclusion, Demolition Man was not a was not a it was not an instructional manual. Okay, let's move on from that. Um, see if there's anything like. Oh yeah, here's something. I was gonna go to Twitter silliness, but not quite yet. Uh, Apparently, there's a new thing on flights. Men are quote unquote raw dogging or barebacking flights. This is where men don't listen to music, they don't read, they just kind of look out the window or look at the in flight map, and they just sit quietly and mind their own business. This is apparently a problem. Kate Lindsay had to write a whole article about why this is bad. Hmm. A small group of hardy men, the gender that brought you frat hazing Logan Paul, are now doing this for a variety of reasons. Yes, men, the people who brought us Logan Paul, are now sitting quietly and not bothering people, and this drives women insane. Like, I don't. What is the problem here? Oh no, like, you're sitting quietly and minding your own business. That's like the worst thing ever. I will never understand this problem some people have. Like, this idea of, just being quiet and not bothering people is the worst thing you could do. It's like that Zoshi Gonzalez I talked about a couple weeks ago. It was like, the gentrification is quiet, and that makes my fifis hurt. Did you ever consider, Ms. Lindsay, that it's a good thing that men sit quietly and don't bother you, and you could kindly just do the same thing. Just shut up and mind your own business. This is a stupid article, and anybody who wrote it should feel bad. It's Kate Lindsay, actually. She wrote it, then she should feel bad. And finally, we have a couple of bits of Twitter silliness. Um, yeah, so BAP, Bronze Age pervert, his full body shot. Sorry, I'm stumbling over my words. Was revealed, and he is a pot-bellied middle-aged man, just as I suspected. Well, at least he's openly admitting that. I guess inadvertently. Now, if only he could come out of the closet, then we'd be styling. Somebody said it best. Why is Bap shaped like a Nebraska lesbian? I don't know. Bap is a man who refers to himself as an aspiring nudist bodybuilder. Please keep your clothes on, sir. You don't have the physique to be naked. You barely have a physique that's good enough to get out of the house. Okay. Ponythroat says the writer of Code of Honor wrote a racist early episode of Stargate. Odd typecasting for a writer. Yes, how does one get typecast into writing racist science fiction episodes? I could do that job. Ninja Master asks, they use the term raw-dogging flights? Apparently so. Looking out the window is actually pretty fun, says Steampunk Messiah. Yes, I do it myself. Usually I bring a book to read, but, I'll look out the window sometimes if I finish or I just don't want to read anymore. Rick says, for a moment, I thought Larsen was going to rap Mind of Hops in number 5. I have no idea what that is. Alfred says, I play vidya on the plane. Ninja Master says, I think they call that being present in the moment. We're all distracted anymore. Yeah, apparently it's bad to just sit quietly and just kind of look around what's going on. Ponythroat says, looking out the window of a Boeing flight, counting the bits falling off. Yes, well said. Okay, also in Twitter silliness, once again, the far left wing supports massive corporations over small local businesses. Okay, anti-corporate graffiti spotted in Tasmania. Shop local, steal from corporations, anarchy symbol. Not potato Bolshevik says, you're never beating the petite bourgeois allegations, referring to anarchists. This person goes on to explain that anarchists are petit bourgeois and small businesses are the cornerstone of fascism. So several people, including myself, pointed out it's a bit silly for a leftist to support the large multinational corporation over the small local mom and pop. And they are shamelessly saying, yeah, we do support the large corporations over the small mom and pop. Now, personally, I don't understand this logic, but I guess I'm not smart enough to understand why, the big corporation is like good and the small business is bad. Yeah, I hate local corporations. How dare people own the means of production? They're fucking kulaks. The kulaks. Yeah, I don't understand this. Alpha Riga says if you're not reading a book, you might be staring at a woman's buttocks or something. I don't know how you could stare at anyone's ass on a plane. Barely have enough room to move on a plane. Robert Diaz says leftists will support the big corpos until they stop donating to far left causes. I suppose that is what it is. They're just like trained seals, just orf clapping whenever the big corporation puts up a rainbow flag or whatever. That's what they want. I'm sorry, like when exactly did the far left stop caring about like workers' rights and things like that, and start just sucking the dicks of every corporation that puts up like rainbow flags? It's just total culture war things. Like, did they just win so thoroughly they just kind of gave up, or were they always like this? I don't know. Rick says, I keep my clothes on because I have the physique of a palace cat. I'm sure it's better than Babs at the very least. Alfamigi says the flight attendant or something. I'm sorry, sir. You must be stuck in the 1970s when, we were allowed to hire attractive women to be flight attendants. That's basically illegal nowadays. Do I have anything else that's like newsworthy or not? Let's see. Give me 1 second to look over my notes here. And we just, we're getting to the pop culture and silly side of things. Yeah, now we're doing something that's kind of the silly side of things, kind of like kind of like it's kind of bridging the gap between high culture, such as it is, well, not high culture, but like genuine socio-cultural impact and pop culture. So apparently the young people don't understand, drumroll please, the Lost comic, the infamous Control Alt Delete Lost comic, and they just don't get it. So says a young Zoomer. I literally have never understood why people were mad at this comic. It's been what, like 17 years thereabouts since that comic? And we've apparently gotten to the point where the young people don't understand why it was a problem. Let me assure you, sir, that nobody was mad at the Lost comic. People were making fun of the Lost comic. And let me explain to you why. For those of you young whippersnappers who are not aware, or people like my dad and my wife who, have normal lives and are not involved in this horseshit, Control Alt Delete was a webcomic. I don't believe it runs anymore. It was a, what they call a gamers on the couch comic, making fun of video games and the surrounding culture. It was a silly, lighthearted gag-a-day comic about, two nerds playing their vidya and their wacky shenanigans. They had a wacky talking robot. They made up a fake holiday. Shenanigans were afoot as they worked at the game store. It was never particularly great writing, but it was fine for what it was. In the comic, our main character got a girlfriend. They got married. Then the girlfriend got pregnant. All is well and good. And then, literally, out of nowhere, little 5 foot tall Tim Buckley, in his infinite wisdom, decides to do a miscarriage comic, totally straight, attempting to get, pathos and drama out of this wacky gamer comic about a nerd and his funny robot friend. That's why people were making fun of it, because it's completely incongruous. It comes out of nowhere. This comic with its shitty art style and lame gag comedy, you have not earned the right to do a miscarriage storyline, sir. It is not good enough for this. That's what people are making fun of. Like, they're not making fun of the comic itself. They're not making fun of the fact that the woman had a miscarriage. I forget, was it like Leah? I think her name was. I know Ethan was the dude. I want to say like Leah or Layla or something like that was the girl. Whatever. Like, yeah, Tim Buckley is a hack writer. He did not earn the right. He does not have the capacity to do pathos. And also, Tim Buckley's a garbage human being in real life anyway, so people are also dunking on him for that. Well, apparently, we've gotten to the point where people don't get why loss is a problem. So I had to point it out to this person. Oh, and by the way, you know what this person's Twitter @ is? @Link of Sunshine. This person is a bullshit femboy, they, them. And he's got, Link from Breath of the Wild, because of course he does. This person thinks that Link is a transsexual femboy, so obviously this person has no media literacy. My wife asked me a couple weeks ago, Why am I always going on about like the gay link thing and how it upsets me? I don't go out of my way to look these people up, darling. They just come up in my feed, just spewing their staggering idiocy all over my face, and like they drew first blood, not me. But yeah, this staggering lack of media literacy is the only thing I can expect for somebody who believes that Link is a cross-dressing bottom who takes it in the ass. So, what have we learned, kids? If somebody thinks that Link is gay, you can disregard everything they say because nothing they say will be worth anything. In conclusion, Tim Buckley's a hack and Loss is still hilarious. Okay. Rick says later, thanks, Larsen. Robert Diaz says the union splintered and fell off the Democrat wagon. The police and fire unions tend to support Republicans. Yeah, I mean, I support unions. Like, people should have, labor rights and benefits. And bear in mind that, like, the United States did at one point have the world's highest standard of living. It was not done directly through the government. It was done through unions, but, the same results happened. C-Punk Messiah says, remember one man's one is another man's 10. Yes, I suppose so. Ninja Master says, I appreciate you do show prep on topics. Well, I mean, I just like to show off how smart I am. Alpha Mariga says, you do need to know a tiny bit of context. Well, yes, that's true. You need to know, like, the backstory as to why Loss is hilarious garbage. But yeah, like, once you understand that, this silly gag-a-day comic strip tried to do a miscarriage storyline, that's what you need. That's all you need to know. Like literally, imagine if, I don't know, imagine if Marmaduke did a miscarriage storyline. That's basically the equivalent of what we're dealing with here. Or like Heathcliff or something. Although considering how utterly insane Heathcliff is nowadays, they might as well pull something off like that. C-Punk Messiah says this Zoomer does not watch Wang's channel. Alpha Mariga says CAD is still running. Alpha Mariga says you need to draw Rambo First Blood Part 2. As you can plainly see from my website's logo, I'm not that good of an artist. Then as I said that, I realized that you're making a pun on they drew first blood. But yeah, it's amazing how I just keep reiterating the fact that anybody who believes in like the femboy Link thing is somebody whose opinion can be totally disregarded. Because I've never seen anybody espousing that ever say anything that was ever worth listening to, ever. Okay, speaking of the vidya, people are complaining. Like, there's apparently a new trend on YouTube. People are saying, why are games not fun anymore? People are complaining about this. I'm a bit tired of these YouTubers in their 30s who bitch and complain that gaming isn't like it was when they were kids or teenagers. Once again, the shit libs are trying to destroy history. No, the 90s were not like this. There were never games released completed. There was always DLC you had to do to patch the game. Games always had ugly women as the stars. Games were always lesbian golf simulators. No. Well, gee, Wally, if games were not as good back then as they are today, then why are they constantly remaking and remastering the old games? Because capitalism, that's why. Me. Nostalgia's fascist coded. Me. Well, I guess when it comes to video games, I am a fascist. This might be crazy, children, but yes, there was a time when you bought a video game and you got the whole video game. You didn't have to download a bunch of crap they have to pay for just to, complete the game. And there was a time when, like, games were fun and they weren't just these annoying Skinner boxes that are designed to suck your soul out through your mouth and bleed you dry. Games were fun back then. Shinseki Evans says, the gay link litmus test. Yes, well said. If you believe that Link is a homosexual, any reincarnation of him, you are a garbage person and you can be ignored. Okay, good. I'm glad we agree on this. But yeah, games are shit nowadays. Pass it on. I talked about this last week. Like, why is Nintendo winning even though their graphics aren't as good as the other companies? Well, because, I have my issues with Nintendo's creative vision, but they're at least the only company making games. They're not making shitty movies with, like, surly butch lesbians swinging golf clubs in all their games. So, I mean, it's the lesser evil, certainly. But yeah, so whenever I teach the young whippersnappers, I try to convey to them that games were better back in the day. Let's check out some comments here. Robert Diaz says, political correctness killed the gaming industry. You can't have hot women, good stories, and violence against a protected class. Yeah, I actually read a tweet the other day where, like, one of the guys who worked on the Halo games, he's like, you guns make my penis hurt. Like, guns, upset me. You probably shouldn't be working on a first-person shooter then, you cretin. But yeah, like, it's... yeah, video games suck nowadays, and if I'm the only person left fighting for, like, Link to not be a effeminate catamite being bent over, then by God, I'm gonna fight to the bitter end. But yes, in conclusion, games are hot garbage nowadays. I swear I don't go out of my way to talk about this. Games, yes. This one very specific thing about the gays, no. But speaking of games, and like, a perfect example of how, like, games are, like, weirdly asexual nowadays. Udon Entertainment had a tweet. Set your alarms, ding 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 ding. Video game icon Shantae gets her first swimsuit special. This belly dancing half genie heroine hits the beach. Alongside her friends Roddy Tops and Sky, baddies like Risky Boots and Nega Shantae, and all the denizens of Sequin Land. Udon is, of course, a comic book company. A Dragonborn Tacos replied to this. I feel conflicted. I am happy Shantae is getting more exposure in this comic book, but it being a swimsuit special is just going to encourage the weirdos. He doesn't want Shantae to be sexualized. Yes, he doesn't want this barely legal teenage girl with belly dancing powers to be sexualized with her bosoms hanging out. Who could possibly imagine that being sexualized? You do know what franchise you're talking about, sir. I mean, yes, it's drawn in a cutesy anime style, but all I'm saying is Shantae's crouch animation from the very first game was her getting on all fours and assuming the position. Way Forward knew exactly what they were doing, damn it. Also, fun fact. I was very close to titling the stream, oh no, we can't sexualize Shantae, and then having the boss fight theme by Jake Kaufman as my opening song. So either way, you were getting the vidya music. Bear in mind, these are the same people who are like, oh my god, Baldur's Gate has, like, gay sex. Oh my god, Link is a, homosexual catamite. So these people love sex as long as it's, like, anything but heterosexuality. And look, I have nothing against the gays. Like, you can do whatever you want. I'll even, like, grit my teeth and allow you to make your Legend of Zelda gay porn. But for the love of God, you can't complain about, like, the straight people having sexualization when you're, like, cheering for the gay sexualization. Oh no, the Coomers are gonna get their hands on Shantae. Motherfucker, the Coomers made Shantae. did you not play the game? Yeah, it's just this, you know, barely legal teenage girl with a hyper, exaggerated, voluptuous figure with belly dancing powers. Who could ever sexualize that? Boy, people are stupid. Robert Diaz says Resident Evil 5 was called a racist game because you shot, zombie black people in Africa. This world makes no sense. LOL. I mean, yeah, like, you do know that throughout the game, like, multiple black people help you, right? Okay, granted, there is, like, the one part in Resi 5 where, like, you go into, like, the jungles and there's literally, like, painted heathens, like, throwing spears at you. And that was a little iffy, but other than that, it wasn't that bad. Alpha Marie says it reminds me of gay people trying to co-opt Bayonetta. She says she enjoys making babies in the first game. I've never actually played Bayonetta. I should probably get on that. Shinseki Evans says some of those udon guys seem pretty based. It's a rarity in comics these days. Yes. I'm told that those Udon Street Fighter comics are actually not bad. I should probably check those out too. We don't want to sexualize Shantae. I mean, I'm just saying, if they didn't want to sexualize her, they probably shouldn't have made her crouch animation, her literally getting on her hands and knees and arching her back. Just saying. Anyway, speaking of things that are much less sexy, Amanda Stenberg, who's the showrunner for the new Star Wars crap fest, The Acolyte, people were criticizing her show for being crap. Not Amanda, mind you, Amanda Stenberg rage twerks against right-wingers in music video. Yeah, I'm angry. I'm going to spastically flap my buttocks around. That'll show them. I will never understand this idea of, like, all else fails, just start, like, spastically swinging my ass around. Not even in, like, a rhythmic way. Just furious buttock flapping. I suppose making a show that wasn't hot garbage wouldn't be an issue. Or wouldn't be a possibility, but I guess so. I guess it's not possible. And finally, speaking of ladies, apparently people on Twitter don't know how hair parting works. There's a picture of some lady with her hair parted to one side and then in the middle. Says, damn nostalgia. How did she move where her hair was going from? Yes, how did she move where her hair comes? Jesus Christ, do people not know how to use combs anymore? These people don't know how to part hair, and these people are allowed to vote. Wow, it's this magic. She grew her hair out of a different part of her face. What is this sorcery? I mean, I don't know who this person is, but I'm pretty goddamn sure he doesn't have magical powers. Wow, this person owns combs and brushes. Again, I don't know who this person is, but I'm pretty sure she knows how to, like, comb her hair or brush her hair. Like, do people not know how to? Do people just not comb their hair and brush their hair anymore? Boy, people are stupid. And yeah, that does it for my prepared remarks. So you can say your last piece now if you want. Alpha Marigi says a woman flashed Vladimir Putin to protest the invasion. He gave her a thumbs up. Well, at least some politicians are still sensible. I mean, the Ukraine thing was not sensible, but giving a thumbs up to the bosoms is sensible. So yeah, that is my prepared remarks. If you want to say your last pieces, do so now, if you will. Okay, doesn't look like anyone has anything else to say. Wait, up. C-Punk Messiah says, I'd be curious to see how the Zoomers would react to Max Headroom. I don't know. I don't think they would be down with it, to be quite honest. Max Headroom was a lost treasure. I've never actually watched Max Headroom beyond that one broadcast hijacking. Alpha Marigues says, rest in peace, Taiki Matsuno. He voiced minor characters in One Piece, and he was also in Yu-Gi-Oh! Well, yes, a Seiyu dying is always bad. He also did the Japanese voice of SpongeBob. Yes, it's quite a resume. Ninja Master asks, is Max Headroom rebooted? Not to my knowledge. Okay, so now I think I'll kind of pack it in for Larsen Halleck. This has been Larsen Halleck. All of you have a good day.